So, ESPN put out a new name for the Bengals to trade for before the trade deadline. And to be honest, this is such a smart idea because, again, I would love to trade for Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, trade for a top-end player. I really would. I would love to get a superstar on our defense, especially because we need help, especially on our defense. But realistically speaking, we already know Duke Tobin. We already know Zach Taylor. We already know how the Bengals front office works. And most likely they're not going to do so. I mean, we could kind of go back and forth and say what we wish they would do. But the fact is they're not going to do what we want them to do. So this is more realistic of a trade. As we talked about many times, Tanner Hudson is a very good trade candidate, especially with how many tight ends we have on our roster right now at this moment in time. Adam Butler. So who is Adam Butler? Well, Adam Butler is on the Raiders. He's a defensive tackle. This season not really doing as well, but the Raiders defense in general this year is really just doing piss poor. So I'm not going to hold that too much against Adam Butler. But overall wise, a little bit older of a individual. He is 30 and a half years old. But put him in a correct system, give him a chance in a really good system. Like, again, I truly do believe we have a really good system. I know so far it's been kind of lackluster this year and last year, but last year we had injuries. But I think with the correct system, he can be absolutely okay as a rotational guy. I'm not saying, again, this is not you trading for a guy who's going to be an absolute starter, number one starter. But, you get him in there, you see what he can do, maybe as a rotational guy, and, you kind of go on from there, right? So that's kind of how I look at it for this guy. I don't mind going after him. In all honesty, I think he could be a pretty good asset for the correct price tag. Again, everything is for the correct price tag. That's really what it comes down to and what honestly matters the most. Adam Butler, the last couple years, he spent majority of his career with New England Patriots. He did go ahead and play with Miami, and then he had a 2-year hiatus where he was like MIA. Not even injury. I guess he just wasn't on the roster. But he had 5 sacks in 2023. This year he has had 0 so far. But again, like I said, defense sucks. The team's not going to do absolutely amazing. Miami Dolphins, 2 sacks with them. And then for the Patriots, he actually had a pretty dang good sack total over the years. And again, he is a more of a pass rushing defensive tackle, which again, we could help us out immensely. 300 pounds, 6'5", and trade Tanner Hudson for him. Trade a 6th-round pick for him. Trade something that's really not much and just, be at a benefit off the chance of maybe he'll be that guy for you. I don't mind this. I really don't. I think ESPN, did a good job on suggesting this guy. Ben Solak actually proposed new trade target. He said, if the Bengals are indeed adding at the trade deadline, it must mean they're making a playoff push, which must mean their run defense needs immediate reinforcements. Enter Butler, who is on a cheap 1-year deal and a good 40 or so snaps per game with some splashy run defense, especially what the doctors ordered. Yeah, exactly. I actually thought he was more of a pass rusher, but I guess he is more run defender. The reason why I thought he was more pass rusher is just because of the sack totals. But hey, listen, works out too. If he's a run defender, I'm very, very happy with that. Add more to the run defense and more rotational purposes. I will say I would like to entertain the idea of trading for a interior one, maybe another interior pass rusher as a rotational guy, especially with the fact that, not injuries, but with our lack of production right now. But again, I'm not against the idea here of going ahead and getting another run stuffer. Again, as a rotational guy, 100%. This is not a starter. This is not a guy taking over for not Sheldon Rankins, for BJ Hill, not taking over for Chris Jenkins and McKinley Jackson. This is just a rotational guy, kind of how we used some other guys on our roster throughout the year so far. this isn't a guy that's going to be, you know, taking over anyone's job. But if he can be a good rotational player and get some good snaps and hopefully figure some things out for us, it can work out. So definitely tell me down below your thoughts and opinions, and what are you thinking? I'll see you guys in the next one.